never gets any easier, Bukowski.
Everyone loves, or has loved, at least one of Rockstar's game franchises. They were pretty much part of everyone's gaming lifetime, regardless of age, and chances are they still are. Everyone gets hyped for their next new release. No one can deny the quality and effort they put into their creations. I highly doubt there is any gamer out there without at least a little bit of nostalgia for even just one of their games. It's funny when you think about this, these games have actually shaped some of our lives, which is a long story, but they can be seen under many different angles. San Andreas is the prime example for me personally. So, the next best thing to that is them releasing a new game and living up to those standards. That is, when they release one. Rockstar aren't the gaming saints that people usually make them out to be either. They might have been a decade ago, but they started taking a turn for the worse around the time LA Noire came out. Objectively, LA Noire had new motion capture technology that revolved around more realistic depictions of characters, combined with the proper era, genre, and concept. It was a very unique project. However, the game had highly troubled development, bad working conditions, which is actually pertain to Rockstar in general, but also known as development hell. It may not have been purely Rockstar at fault, but they ultimately put their foot down, and as such, Team Bondi was dismantled afterwards, and the IP was left in the dust, like many of Rockstar's IPs. LA Noire was and still is an excellent game, at least in my opinion. The team sought to rebrand, they were bought out, they had a working title under the name of Whore of the Orient, of which there was already a bit of leaked gameplay. It was using the same motion capture technology and was a narrative-driven action title like LA Noire. Unfortunately, the team was yet again laid off, and now the game is effectively dead. The title of the game was apparently offensive to the Chinese, since it was also based in China itself. So that was one minor reason, I would assume, because the title could easily be changed. LA Noire is the biggest offender of Rockstar's missed potential for the future, but the major point I like to get across is Rockstar used to release one quality game every year, if not more, ever since 2008. We had GTA 4 and Midnight Club LA in 2008, which is another abandoned IP. The developers were again fired and dismantled, followed by the two big story DLCs for GTA 4 and 09, which when combined were basically almost a different game, and as such they were released standalone on disc. Red Dead Redemption in 2010, followed by one big story DLC, Undead Nightmare, LA Noire in 2011, Max Payne 3 in 2012, and then GTA 5 in 2013, obviously. GTA 5 can be its own video, but this is about Rockstar, and Rockstar haven't released anything since 2013, unless you count the PS4 and X1 releases in 2014, and PC in 2015. You already probably know this story, but it's always worth talking about. GTA 5 has had no story DLC at all. Rockstar themselves had a blog post back in 2014 about new content being on the way, including the trio and Southern San Andreas, and there has obviously been nothing about that since then. Instead, every update on the game has been about GTA Online, the place where money gets printed. To put things into pure perspective, GTA 5 itself has made about $2 billion from game sales at the current point in time. GTA Online has made around 500 million to 1 billion from microtransactions. That's almost half of the game sales. We are now well into 2017 at the time of making this video, and it's been almost 4 years since GTA 5 was first released. The longest gap we've ever had for a GTA game was 2009's Chinatown Wars to 2013's GTA 5. I'm counting all of the handheld titles, of course, but If you only look at the main entries of the series, it's again a 4-year gap, San Andreas in 04 to 08's GTA 4. But this current gap is for any sort of game whatsoever. The next GTA game should be announced at this point, for crying out loud. There's no way they'll be releasing it next year, as Red Dead Redemption 2 was just recently delayed to 2018. And that's my next point, the delays. No other company has done what Rockstar has done in terms of their time framing. They have never released a game without delaying it at least once, at least for the main entries. It's always the same story of how they don't want to rush the game and etc. You know, you don't have to announce your games years ahead of release. The only reason they do this is to build hype. But they're big games and the cost of games is rising, problems unexpectedly come up. Fallout 4 by Bethesda was announced and released in the same year, back in 2015. That's about as big as games get. They made a schedule, stuck to it, and no bullshit. Look, I'm all for making a game as great as you possibly can, delay it all you want, but this isn't what's happening here. Are you trying to tell me that a multi-billion-dollar company can't foresee the next 1 or 2 years of their project? GTA 5 made up its budget of over 200 million in just pre-orders alone. The game was again announced years ahead of time, and yet the end product could have been much better. You should know by now that a game's development time doesn't dictate its quality. Sometimes it does, but the same applies for short dev times. Rockstar do it to build up money and maximize profits, which is what all companies aim for, of course, but the problem is Rockstar was all about the player, all about making the best single player experience possible. And you know how everyone always blames season passes for today's gaming infrastructure? Rockstar was the first to ever do that back in 2011 with LA Noire. It was called the Rockstar Pass. It included story DLC, which was good, mind you. But everyone always clings to EA. Oh, EA this, EA that. EA is the devil of gaming, and they created the Season Pass dilemma, or whatever other company, when it was Rockstar that capitalized on it first. The company that should be getting the most attention is Rockstar, but it's for all the wrong reasons right now. GTA Online can also be a separate video, but everyone can agree that it has had and still has so many problems. It's just laughable for all the money it made and all the potential, the false advertising, mind you, like at the start with the heists. Before you say GTA Online is free, I don't recall ever downloading it for free. I bought GTA 5 and the mode came with it. It's not free to play, it's a paid product. GTA Online wasn't even playable for the first month with all the connectivity and technical problems, which some of still exists, like the inexcusable load times across all platforms. It also turned out such a boring mode over time. In its current state, it makes other online modes look like masterpieces. Yes, you can argue you got your money's worth. I myself spent a lot of time in GTA 5 and online. In fact, I have nostalgia for GTA 5 among other emotional factors, and I really liked it back when it came out. Looking at it now, it's a much different story, and things could have been a lot better in the end. In the best case scenario, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great game, and possibly they release a new bully, if those rumors are even true, then GTA 6. If all those come out and turn out great, then that would be cool. Right now, the future is kind of grim. There was also Agent, another new promising IP that was most likely completely canned in the wake of GTA 5. The skepticism I have towards Red Dead Redemption 2 is from all these already existing points. You can already see a couple of interesting quotes here. They already try to pinpoint the online mode. And recently, to further bring that to light, we have a new piece of information from this article, straight from the horse's mouth. we can do more microtransactions. That's from Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two. Link for the article is in the description. I won't cover that here, so you can see for yourself. But it already smells like the same shit from here. I hope I'm wrong, but I could be right. In either case, I'm sure they will still be deemed as the gaming gods. In fact, I'm curious how outlets would regard GTA right now as its own thing. I haven't even talked about the microtransactions and everything surrounding them. It seems like people need to open their eyes a bit more here because, as a famous Serbian once said,
perhaps here, things will be different.